The following is intended for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome, Deadites, to part 3 of What If Asta Was a Freelancer. Now, if I sound a little bad, I apologize. I unfortunately have tested positive, but I'm still doing my best to provide you with entertainment. As our two lovebirds are working on their skills by freelancing in Fort Tarsis. Of course, they did their best to keep the nature of their javelins to themselves to avoid greedy nobles or hungry freelancers from trying to take what's theirs. Wasn't even sure if it was possible in Asta's case, but he didn't have that convenient delivery system that she did. As a matter of fact, was about to ask about getting one. Asta, my beautiful, intelligent love. Asta cut him off. Stop flattering me and get to the point, dear. Asta had given the push he needed to finally ask. Asta sighed. Look, I've been trying to replicate that aspect of what Imp and Black Clover can do, but it has been evading me. Asta was rather proud of her work, and when those words came out of her mouth, knew it was time to drop it for now. She was one of the most intelligent people that he knew, especially in the field of javelins. Asta and were racking up money now that they could both freelance, but her day job with Zoe continued. Zoe had been there for her since the start, and Asta couldn't stand to do her dirty. She'd stay for as long as Zoe would have her. The majority of their savings are being funneled towards getting a strider. Asta could even repair one if it wasn't in too bad of a condition. If they get a strider, they could form their own company of freelancers. It wouldn't be as lavish as the night companies have, but it's something, right? It would be a small unit with only one strider once again, but having one would be a great boon. For those of you who don't know much about Anthem, this is a strider. It's a mobile base that is a good alternative to returning to Fort Tarsis all the time. Hint, hint, BioWare. That's enough of my little rant. Let's get back to the good stuff, yeah? And Asta had gained renown for themselves. Word of their accomplishments have spread throughout Fort Tarsis, to the point where even the Sentinels would drop them a line every now and again. Having powerful javelins came in quite handy. Our lovebirds were having a small date in the fort.
We are being followed, Asta.
Thank you, Imp. How long?
They've been tailing us for at least the last 5 minutes. Sylph and I had to double check just to be sure. She has most likely informed What would you want to do about this?
Asta grabbed and started kissing him something fierce. They dipped into an alley, making it seem as if they were getting ready to have a little romp. The fool that was tailing them was met with Asta's blade to her back, and what appeared to be, for lack of a better description, a Rasengan threatening to destroy her face. Went straight to business. Who are you? And why have you been following us? Of course, while Yuno asked that question, Sylph was scanning her person for anything that would give away, well, who she was, really.
I don't think this hussy is up to anything good. She appears to be in possession of relics that should not really be on her person. My best bet is that she's either here to snipe one of you before the big names arrive, or she's got a crew ready to rob us.
Turns out it was the latter. A crew of thugs showed their ugly mugs. Of course, they don't have their javelins since they're in Fort Tarsus. But we all know that Asta has the juice to fight these goons, and thanks to Sylph, so does Yuno. With a green flash, Yuno was gone and he struck at a nearby goon with the Zephyr Strike, which is what we're going to call what that was on in his hand. Asta struck at the leader with the back of her Slayer blade. While she was annoyed at their presence, she didn't want to kill anyone if it was avoidable. However, they were on a time crunch, and that's when Asta put two and two together. They're a distraction. Whoever sent them doesn't want us taking all the attention. We've got to get done with this pronto.
You could do a train and call it a day.
Are you joking, Imp? We're in the middle of town. If I did that, nothing but trouble would follow.
Imp was silent. Whether he was testing his master or being serious, Asta didn't really care at the moment. Yuno's movement from wall to wall made hitting him nearly impossible, and anyone that got near Asta was in for a bad time. They dealt with the problem, but unfortunately all the worthwhile teams only had one slot left, and the two lovebirds refused to be separated. Sure, Asta could go on as a cipher, but that would be a waste of her talent. If she was hired as a cipher, that would be all she was. A cipher. Asta was so much more than that, and Yuno wanted her to know that. She almost took the job so Yuno could have his dream of joining the Golden Dawn to be a reality, but sadly, that just won't happen. William Von Jans steps to the couple. Once again, this is supposed to sound regal, but I apologize if I can't catch his regality. You truly are a package deal, then. While I would love to have you both as freelancers, sadly I only have one slot remaining. Please join me in my quarters. I must have word with you, the both of you. Asta and Yuno look to each other and follow William without question. William offers them a seat and some wine, which they both take. I heard of your delay in getting here. I have no doubt that it was orchestrated by some noble that doesn't want the both of you together. The power that the two of you boast could tip the scale. While my team is number one, I truly hate how stagnant this competition has become. Asta, Zoe won't shut up about you, to the point that even our child talks about you. Yes, I went there, took that liberty. So, I shall throw you a bone, dear. There used to be 9 companies in our association. Do you know what that company of knights was called? Yuno seems stumped, but Asta grins. They were known as the Black Bulls. While they weren't the smartest, they truly were the mightiest. However, didn't they fall to the heart of rage? William was quite pleased with her answer. Indeed, they did. However, their leader was never confirmed dead. I have been safekeeping something that should make this far more interesting. King Julius has authorized my transfer of this to you. William placed the command key in Asta's hand. This is the key to the Black Bull. I'm certain that the two of you and your companions, yes, I am aware of them, can bring the strider known as the Black Bull back to town. However, you must do so by the end of this week, or you'll have to wait a full year before you can be recognized. Integrated the key code into Asta's bracer, and Sylphs appeared to do the same for Yuno. Sir William's knowledge of how special Yuno and Asta were was slightly frightening to both of them, but they took it in stride. They talked for a bit longer, and Asta stormed out in false tears while Yuno remained to sell the image. No one thought twice about it and merely assumed there was trouble in paradise. Now, a certain group of female freelancers tried to grab Asta, but Asta didn't have time for them.
No offense, but I just want to be alone for right now. Don't worry, dear. We'll be here when you're ready.
Oh, how little they know. After dealing with them, Asta made her way to the location of the Black Bull in little to no time. The enhanced flight time that Black Clover granted her was phenomenal. However, she wouldn't say that out loud, for it would get to Imp's head. Asta made a point to fly in erratic patterns in case she was being followed. She even made her way underwater. She could go far deeper and remain there far longer than a normal ranger had any hope of doing. With all this in play, she was certain that she wasn't being followed anymore. Making her way to the actual destination as soon as she was certain it was clear. Oddly enough, the path took her underwater anyway, so all's well that ends well. Unfortunately for her, there were a lot of scars at her destination. Her guess was that they were squatting at this location. The Strider's integrity seemed sound, so they hadn't gotten in it for the most part, but it had been stripped of some plating. Asta would make it a point that they never really got in. Stealth was key for the first part of this. To get the drop on the scars, Asta deployed a vortex grenade, and oh boy was it effective. Asta's tank was full just from that, really. However, she made a point to hold on to Damon's wrath. For now, it would be a difference between life and death. Asta went in sword swinging. The scars deployed barriers, but you know that's not going to do anything against that sword, right? When she got in close enough, she'd wreck them with either the sword or some shotgun assaults. An energy blast was sent at Asta. She slashed at it and sent it right back to its owner, killing it instantly. It was a good thing she saved Demon's Wrath, since she was gonna need it. All that remained were a group of enforcers that meant business, and one was heavily armored, and she was out of ammo.
Well, frack me.
Asta threw yet another vortex grenade that drained the opposition to a point and allowed her to close the distance. Asta focused on the small fry, and when they were done, she got out of dodge and fired her Demon's Wrath. Problem solved, but Asta was sweating like she'd run a marathon. She salvaged what ammunition she could and made her way to the bull.
Stand by, Asta. It should be opening soon.
The hatch opened for Asta, and she made her way in. The bull was in a major disarray. While it hadn't been entered in years, it also hadn't been entered in years. She'd need some TLC, but the systems were nominal enough to the point that it would move, given a few repairs. Asta did her thing and rode it out of its home of over a decade. When the bull was seen from afar, Looks like your girlfriend pulled it off. Zoe wasn't joking about her, it would seem. William and Yuno were lying in wait for Asta, and so was someone else, King Julius. Since there's no magic and all that, I'm just gonna make him king flat out. I mean, he was a better king by far than that fat, sorry, lazy excuse of a king anyway. The king was smiling. It is with great pleasure that I present to you the 9th Company of Knights, the Black Bulls. Now, some of you may grumble that these two aren't knights. Well, as of today, they are. Miss Asta and Mr. Yuno Tarsus, you are now knights. Now, Miss Asta, while you own the company, I would be remiss in not stating that you need a high-ranking knight to lead your team properly. As such, I would like to introduce you to my dear old friend, formerly and now once again, the leader of the Black Bulls, Yami Sukehiro. All company heads and knight commanders. Yes, they are separate titles. I'm gonna say it's rare for one person to hold both of those titles. Like, let's say William, for example, and there's one other. 3 guesses who she is. They were absolutely gassed. It's the destruction god. He lives. Someone let out. A certain someone was trying to hide the ear-to-ear grin on her face, and she was succeeding in doing so from all but one person. But that is a tale for later. Once again, I'm gonna try. Yo, name Yami, and I'll be whipping whatever team you gather this week into shape. So, Missy, you're the owner. I'm assuming your boyfriend over there is my new vice captain, meaning he's in for some hellish training. Now, normally you only get 10 slots to fill, but since you're fresh out of the oven, you get a full company, or at least enough people to run the bowl over here. Medic, cook, engineer, which you seem to have covered, but a team would be nice for you. So, all things considered, you've got more than enough cash since you've been made the new, corporate lead of Black Bulls. This is yours. He pointed to a bag in Julius's hand. I see that you're a cipher, but however, you're probably going to be used as a freelancer, so I know of at least one talented cipher. Either way, there's a lot of freelancers to choose from, so hop to it, Missy.
Shouldn't I be giving you orders, or at the very least, heavy suggestions?
I'm not even gonna bother trying to laugh. I scripted Yami for laughing, but no, can't do it. We ain't there yet, Missy. When it comes to the bottom dollar and matters that affect the company, you have the utmost authority that I will not question. But when it comes to freelancers, you gather and I whip into shape. That's my field of expertise. Capiche? Asta nodded her head and accepted a large sum of cash that had been building interest for years from King Julius. Those were the funds Yami's previous team had earned, and she would use it to get the bowl into shape. She had earned Yami's respect, and she was already on a good foot for that.
If you liked that, let's get a United States smash on that like button. If you're not subscribed, consider going full cowling with that subscribe button. And let's go plus ultra with the notifications. Ring that bell, baby. Rest easy, Deadites. And remember, the night is ours.